Whipping up all of your favorite recipes.
Simply Food.
You should know by now that you're in for a treat.
Simply Food.
There's no other channel where you'd rather be.
Simply Food.
Seafood, pasta, cakes, and pies. Sing and laugh and even cry. Like and share and hit subscribe. Simply Food by TY.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Simply Food by TY, and today I'm going to teach y'all how to make a bomb pot of Great Northern beans, okay? So let's jump right on into it. So the first thing you want to do when you're making your beans, you want to make sure that you are sorting through them. Oftentimes in these dried beans, there are going to be stones, there's going to be bad beans, there's going to be beans that are never going to fully cook, and you want to get rid of those. Though some of them will have a very bitter taste to them if you leave like these rotten, kind of brownish looking, discolored ones. You want to get rid of those. I find it easier to get them out prior to putting the water in them. But a good thing is that once you add the water to this, they will naturally float to the top. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to start to rehydrate these beans by allowing them to soak for a minimum of 8 hours. Never allow your beans to soak for more than 12 hours. It will ruin the integrity and the texture of the bean itself, okay? So put those in the fridge for about 8 hours. Let's talk about the meat. Now, this is definitely a matter of choice, okay? You do not have to use ham. This was a ham that I had for Christmas that I did not finish, and I knew that I was going to be making this video and probably some black eyed peas. So I knew that I wanted to keep this ham because the bone of this ham is going to add a lot of flavor to our stock. Now, let's talk about the difference between a stock and a broth. A stock is heavily based off of the bones of whatever cut of meat it is, okay? So be it chicken bones, beef bones, pork bones, whatever it is, okay? And when you're making a stock, like I said, that's based off of bones. When you're making a broth is more so based off of the meat. So, you know, you're boiling your chicken or, you know, any other type of poultry and all those things. The best thing about making a stock, is that because you're going to be extracting a lot of the flavor from the bones slowly at a low temperature, you are going to get some serious flavor, okay? So that's one of the best things about creating a stock. You are really going to get a lot of flavor out of using those bones. Now, of course, if you want, you can make this recipe with smoked turkey. You can make this recipe, of course, with ham. That's completely up to you. What I will say is this, depending upon if you're using ham or turkey, that will definitely gauge how much salt you either need to use or not use. Anytime you're using something like ham hocks or ham or any type of pork, honestly, in a stock, you must be very, very careful with how much salt you put in the dish because there's going to be so much flavor that's going to come from this bone and the leftover meat that'll still be attached to it. It's going to let off a lot of salt. It's going to let off a lot of sodium. So you have to be very mindful of that. So just know if you do decide to use smoked turkey, which will also be absolutely delicious, just know that you might have to add just a tinge more seasoning, but either way, it's going to turn out absolutely delicious. So now we got our bone completely exposed. That's what we're going to be putting in our pot so that we can go ahead and create the stock. Go ahead and just sit all of that ham to the side. We'll get back to that a little bit later on. Now, as I said, I'm going to be making a stock, so I just put that bone right into my stock pot here. And I'm going to put about, I would say, about 1 to 2 inches above the meat, okay? Don't overdo it with the liquid. Now, to add some extra flavor to the stock, the only thing I'm going to add to it right now, as far as other vegetables, will be probably, I would say about a small or medium-sized onion. You don't have to worry about chopping it up because this is only going to be for flavor. We are not going to keep this in the dish. And as you can see, I also have some carrots because that also adds some natural sweetness to the stock itself, okay? So go on ahead and throw that whole onion in there as well as all of those carrots because, again, both the carrots and the onions are going to come out a little bit later on. Let's talk about the seasoning here. So I'm going to be adding in about 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm also going to be adding in about a tablespoon of onion powder. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you guys more about the seasonings in a few moments. My logic behind my madness. And then I'm going to be adding in about a half a tablespoon of some basil. Going to get all of that in there. Looking good, looking good. We're creating great flavor here. And then some crushed black pepper. Now, what you want to do is you want to go on ahead and put the top on that and allow that to cook for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay, you guys? You don't got to mix it. You don't got to do anything with it. Let it cook at a nice simmer for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. As we start to chop up the ham, I want to just give you guys some tips about the seasoning. So as you guys can see, I did not put in a lot of seasonings just then, and that's on purpose. Again, when you're creating a stock with something that has pork bones, you must allow all that flavor to come out first, see what extra seasonings you need, and then add it, okay? Because if you oversalt the stock to begin with, you're gonna ruin your whole dish. So this is all about building flavor as you go. So now that this has cooked for about 1 hour and 45 minutes on a nice simmer, as you can see, we've gotten some great flavor into there. We're gonna go ahead and start to remove the onions and the carrots because, as I said, those are not going to be in the final dish. There are people that love having green peppers and bell peppers and onions and stuff in their Great Northern beans. If that's you, by all means, you can add it in. If you want to do that, do it in about the last half hour of the dish, okay? Don't put it in now. If you put it in now, it's just gonna fall apart and turn into mush. As you can see, that bone has become very exposed, which is a good indicator that pretty much that flavor has really started to come out. At this point, now is when you want to start to taste it for extra seasonings, okay? Because now we're gonna start to add in our Maggi Pollo, which I'm gonna add in, I would say, almost about 1.5 tablespoons of the Maggi Pollo chicken seasoning. Then after that, I'm going to go back in, and now I'm going to add in about 1 tablespoon of the onion powder, as well as 1 tablespoon of the garlic powder. Now, some of you may say, well, why didn't you just add that in to begin with? Because again, depending on what type of ham you got, yours might be a very, very salty ham. Yours might not need the extra seasonings, okay? So that's the reason why it's really important to allow it to cook for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Taste the stock, see what it needs, and then add in your additional seasonings. The Maggi Pollo and the garlic powder and the onion powder are great in this dish, as well as 1 heaping tablespoon of the Better Than Bouillon chicken base. I'm telling you, it creates so much flavor, it is out of this world. Now we're going to go in with our Great Northern beans. As you can see, they have plumped up beautifully. I allowed those to soak for, like I said, 8 hours. No more than 8 hours, you guys. It really can ruin the integrity and the texture of the beans. They'll come out uber mushy, and you just don't want that. So what you want to do is, now that you got your beans mixed in nicely, go on ahead and keep that bone in there just like that. Put the top on those beans and allow those beans to cook for about 2.5 hours, okay? At that last half-hour mark, you want to go ahead and add in your chopped ham. However much ham or meat you would like in yours, that's how much you add. I did not add in all of my ham because I just didn't, I'm making a small batch here. That was only 1 bag of Great Northern beans, so I didn't want it to be overwhelmed with too much ham in it. So the other ham that I chopped up, I'll, put that in the fridge and I'll use it for, omelets or something like that. So now you're going to put the top back on this, but before you do, you guys need to add in 1 stick of Kerrygold butter. This is going to add so much creaminess to this, and I'm going to tell you something right now. It's going to add a lot of flavor, okay? I personally do not like tight Great Northern beans. And when I say tight, a lot of times people make their Great Northern beans to where there's no loose liquid. It's kind of almost as if the beans are in gravy. I do not like mine that way, okay? I like the broth so that I can soak it up with some cornbread or something. Like I said, now you're going to put the top back on that and allow those to cook for an additional half hour. So the total cooking time, I would say, would range anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours. However long you choose to cook it at that slow simmer, you guys, just make sure in the last half hour, that's when you add in your ham, that's when you'll add in your butter, and if you would like to add, the green peppers and the onions, that would be the time when you would go ahead and do so. These beans turned out absolutely amazing. I like my broth just like this. I like mine almost soupy in a sense. so that I can really have with some rice and, you know, like I said, put some cornbread down up in there and really sop that up. I don't like mine very tight, almost as if it's in a gravy. This is the texture and how I like mine. As you can see, we got those lovely chunks of ham. Now, one little trick, if you would like your beans a little bit on the sweeter side, not sweet, but you know what I mean, to have a little tinge of sugar, feel free to add in a tablespoon of sugar. The only reason why I didn't add in a tablespoon of sugar is because the ham that I chose to put in this was my honey baked ham from Thanksgiving. So it already has some sweetness to it. Look, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're new to my channel, welcome to Simply Food by TY. If you're one of my returning subscribers, y'all babies know I love y'all so much. And as always, y'all stay cute and take care. Bye, guys.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food.